Eggsy. Had to reconnect everything back into Rumble Studio on the mobile side, or I was just gonna only be able to do Rumble. Wouldn't even let me do locals with it until I fixed it. Yeah, it does. It does look pretty bad, doesn't it? It'll clean up. Out of breath. Oh wow! Don't do that to yourself. Yeah, I figured it would clean up after a minute or so. Five black power walk. Okay. I'm gonna get something playing in the background in a second. I'm just trying to get some things taken care of before I get on the freeway. Hey, someone. I appreciate you hopping in. Yeah, it is nice. It's supposed to be a little cloudy today, but it's like mostly wispy stuff up high. I'm just reading your text. The good news is the good news. It's we didn't sign the contract. The lawyers weren't ready yet, but we're probably going to do that next Monday. So we haven't been able to tell the employees or anything yet. So, but everything's going well. In a positive direction anyway, as far as the bar goes. Slight delay, but we've been dealing with that every day. Oh yeah, for sure. As long as it's not a no, it ain't happening, then I'm fine.
Yes. Hello, my beautiful friends, and welcome back.
Hey, LVA.
Your weekend was absolutely.
Please hop over to Rumble, say hi. It's the first of the month. Need to get those unique chatters in. I know you can't. Someone, that's okay.
Opening up one of those packages, peeling that plastic off there. Oh, it smells good. But it's going fast. And now that it's June, that means we've got just one more month until it's July. And then we have a baby coming. Alexa showed me the...
Hey, Mitty.
It's like 54, 53 days. So it is getting real, my friends. And we're now in the month of the J's. And so... just
Toe for life.
That is bouncing around your voice.
Everybody who can, please just say hi over on Rumble. If you don't want to stay over there, that's fine. I just need the unique chatters. Let's get it done early this month.
We got Jackie Blue. What's up, Sadie? Bill Gibbons is here. Jump in, Jeff. What's up, Seareed's mom? We got SD Gold Star mom.
Anyone who can.
House.
I do appreciate it.
SD Gold Star mom. Talking about Tina Peters.
We'll try and get you some.
She should be getting released today. And we were thinking, you know, as soon as it hits 12:01,
some free premium subs.
She should be skipping on out of there. But that has not happened yet, and so we will likely come back on that this afternoon. Hopefully she's freed by the time we're back, and she gives us a little bit of maybe even a press briefer on the release, the commutation, and all of the things. So we've got that. We also... Congress not doing anything today. We'll take a look at their schedule. We've got a little bit of Graham Plattner news from the weekend. We got Jill Biden's book, Fallout. A bunch of individuals in the Biden campaign are not happy with her, saying she's trying to rewrite history. A little bit of revisionism going on there. Then we've got the trial. So we've got the Carmelo Anthony Austin Metcalf trial, which is starting today. I think we'll keep our eye on it. As it continues to percolate and hit some of the highlights, it will not be televised. It will not be audio-vised.
Thanks a lot, Rick.
Be coming out in terms of media. And
thank you. LVA.
Documents on that queued up. And then, of course,
you.
Can't wait to hear from you, see what you're seeing out there.
Thank you, buddy.
Corner of the world. But some updates on
the bestest.
So the presidential schedule. He's busy today. He's got a bunch of policy meetings, as we can see here. And an executive order will be signed at 4:30 tonight. We'll see what that one looks like. May jump into that on the show, depending on what it is. We always love a good executive order. It would be nice if we had some congressional orders to codify some of these things. But that is coming out later today, 4:30, closed press. And we're not doing the pressers anymore for these executive orders. And I'm wondering, why not? Bring the press in, get that marker out, scribble it out. So we've got that bunch of policy meetings. You can see executive time this morning. We got policy meetings 11 a.m., 5 p.m., 5:30 p.m. I think most of it is related to Iran, and looks like they nuked the schedule from over the weekend. Although it was light over the weekend, we saw that on Saturday. Not much happening. Trump was staying in town. They're building out the UFC.
Thanks a lot, LVA. I appreciate you, brother.
And we will be going to that. So
I had to reconnect all the other streams to Rumble Studio. For some reason, the old authentications weren't working anymore, and it was only letting me stream on Rumble. Last couple streams have only been on Rumble. But we're good to go now.
And I wanted to ask you guys, do you think it would be worthwhile to get one of those live stream backpacks? They're a little bit expensive. So I've got a meeting with that company coming up Friday this week. I'm going to talk to them about it.
That's your third?
But
nice.
It could be fun to throw that backpack on and just kind of bounce around DC. I know we've contemplated it a little bit, but part of the conversation that we're having is, should we just try to live stream the entire, basically, 250th birthday, America 250, just put the backpack on, go out there and check it all out. So would love your opinions on that. Do you think that would be interesting or not?
It'd be great if you could get a decent signal.
That's what the president is doing. And as I mentioned, Congress is
for all that.
today,
You probably need one of those dedicated.
Tuesday, tomorrow. Senate will be coming back. Bunch of activity. We'll
those
dive
backpack
into the nuts
connections
when tomorrow strikes us. So Wednesday, they're back Foreign Affairs. Thursday, Judiciary Committee. On courts, IP, AI, and the internet. We love ourselves some judiciary business. Friday, they had something queued up, but that got postponed. So they are back, or they will be back this week, and hopefully getting something done. But that's what we got. We'll come back tomorrow, take a look at what the details are on the hearings tomorrow and whether there's anything good.
I mean, he's killing it, man.
Of course, we are human. And yeah, we're jamming tomorrow. Mondays are always pretty light. Everybody's hung over there in Congress, so then they have to come back. Now, not much cooking over from C-SPAN. Let's do a quick refresh over here. And tomorrow we've got some Iran stuff. Rubio will be out. Caroline, I think, is still on maternity leave, so we had not really had a press briefing in a long time. Rubio came out, I think Dissent came out last week, gave us some updates, but we've got that. Space X crew, they're speaking today. Senate has a session. I don't know exactly what it's going to be. Senate Democrats.
Yeah, we're heading to Defiance.
Bill to block anti-weaponization fund.
I don't know if I'm going to be able to keep it going while I'm there. I got a lot of running around to do, so I'd be unintended from you guys anyway. I thought I'd just pop in and do this real quick. I am going to stop at Burger King on the way, though. I got a free Whopper Jr. coming, even though I had burgers yesterday.
But they say they'll be back today for Kathleen Lane to be the U.S. District Court judge for Montana. Nice. All right, so we'll get some more judges through. That's good news.
Well, that sounds cool, Biddy.
Of course, we'll see if there's anything good that percolates from that one. But pretty light day in D.C. just across the board, as we can see. They are gearing up for this Freedom 250 event, and Doug Burgum
sounds badass.
About it. Trump had a very interesting post over the weekend. Basically,
I'm going to set up a channel for the bar, too, so
musicians don't want to come.
Where I'm going to be able to pop around the security cameras and stuff.
Saying he'll come out and give a speech and he'll be the headliner for the whole thing. And so that's causing a lot of consternation amongst the standard media. And
I don't normally do BK either.
Put on some glasses to try
I got a deal.
More sophisticated. And she brought on Doug Burgum.
You know me.
And here's what Burgum had to say.
I try not to pass up on deals.
Celebrate. What a miracle. Everybody in the country ought to stand back and say, wow, how incredible is it? You think about the revolutionaries that fought Great Britain, won independence. You think about the battles that we went, the civil wars that held the Union together. And then here we are across the nation, not just in D.C., holding events to celebrate this incredible thing, the abundance that we have, the freedoms we have, the freedom of speech we have. And the Great American State Fair running 15 days here on the Hall. Starting in late June.
I'm going to do the one in Defiance. So
it's a celebration of all 50 states and all territories. There is a planned event for the opening of that. And of course, with a smile on my face, I can't say it. I can't weigh into the politics of musicians because, some
so is everybody in here?
Music for everybody.
Still got to. Oh wait, Callahan needs one.
Seem to have segmented their
let's get him one. Here, I'm off to
politicians. But this Freedom 250 and the celebration of the 250 is a nonpartisan event, and I would encourage everybody in America to get out and celebrate in your own way, celebrate your own community. And if you're here, over those 15 days, get a chance to see the amazing things going on across all of our 50 states.
The argument. Yeah, so that's kind of my point. It's 15 days. So what if we just got a backpack and just went out there and tried to document kind of as much as we could? Obviously, we can keep the show going, but we can go out during the days or do a little earlier show, go out at night, whatever. But it feels like it's kind of history in the making. And I know many people will not be able to come here for that. So if we could just throw the backpack on, this is my idea, talking it out loud with you right now. We could just kind of throw that backpack on, go out, just kind of go up and down the mall, talk to some people, see what's going on, maybe go to an event or two, and it could be fun. Like, it could be fun. And then a lot of people who can't make it. The other thing is wondering, should we do an event here? Should we just get another meetup going? I think I have an idea for a venue for something like that. But yeah, anyway, so those are some things that we're kicking around over here to try to be a part of the celebration and to bring that to you if you're interested in it. But 15 days, man. It's like 2 weeks of America. Feels like a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. So anyways, that's what Bergam is up to, and that's what he's talking about. They're also working on paving and refinishing the area inside and around the Lincoln Memorial. And here's more from Doug.
And you get it, you're doing that fucking pool is 8 acres. It's the size of 7 football fields. It's taller than the Empire State Building. It's like the length of like 5 Washington monuments. You get into that, there's 2.5 miles of expansion. The amount of things that they've uncovered that are extra cost, and then every time there's a rain delay, they had to bring labor and come up.
Cost is one thing, profit is another.
Yeah, but if the costs are going up because of trying to get this project done, that's a theoretical number that somebody said they might make that much money. It doesn't mean they're going to make that much money. But what we are doing is we're getting the thing fixed, because this is, the New York Times also wrote 12 years ago that the Obama administration spent more money. The fucking pool was closed for 2 years. It never worked. That, even right now, when we took this project over, it was leaking 45,000 gallons of water a day.
She agrees it's a mess
gallons a year, because the thing never worked, and they spent more money and it was closed for 2 years. So everybody should be celebrating President Trump getting a project done in 1/10 the time, so 10 times faster at a fraction of the cost of the previous administration. There was no outrage then. There should be outrage. That thing turned into an LG-driven slough, and this thing is going to be fantastic. It's going to be open in time.
Yeah, I might have to wait until after I get this work done.
So we're going to have a nice, beautiful American flag blue reflecting pool. They better pick up the pace, because it's a lot of pool to resurface. But, all right, so that's Doug Bergam out there. Now, speaking of the prior administration, we saw last week that Dr. Jill Biden has been really working hard in overtime, really, to revise the history of the Biden White House. And a lot of this, I think, has been to just prop up the failed administration. She does not want people looking back on Joe Biden's cognitive capacity to invalidate all of the things that he did, or to look into her, or into Hunty, or into the other actual presidents who were nudging Joe in one particular direction or another, and said that the debate flub was only an aberration, just a little bit of an anomaly. She had never seen him like that before, which is strange, because we all saw him like that before. Basically every day he talked to the media, we were all asking, oh gosh, is he even functional at all? And they would swap Joe Biden out with somebody else, like the tall Joe Biden would come out, and like the big cleft chin Joe Biden would come out. We're all wondering, who is this dude? But now the staff is not so happy about her book. Ex-Biden aides give Jill's new book a frosty review, saying, oh gosh, this is another paywall article. Gosh, this website, Axios. Please hold 1 moment while we queue up the actual article. I thought I checked that. Apparently I didn't. But think about some music playing right now, because apparently nobody's archived this one yet. All right, so we'll come back to that one. Now, let's talk, while that's loading, about Graham Plattner. Graham Plattner weighs in on his sexting story. You may have seen this over the weekend. Plattner, this guy who's running against Susan Collins in Maine, and I think it's kind of like neck and neck with her in the polls. Susan Collins, I don't know, she's a squishy Republican. We have a lot of those. And so we get irritated and agitated with them, but they're certainly better than communists or socialist Democrats who are just communists in waiting. And this one is now percolating. Town Hall gave us the roundup, says that they're really behind this guy. And over the weekend, his wife came out and said, yeah, the dude is actually sexting with people, and she reported it to the campaign. The Wall Street Journal had a story about this over the weekend, and said that when the campaign first got launched, they start doing opposition research on themselves so that they can identify problems with their candidate. And in this case, wife told campaign that, yeah, he was sexting with some people, like problematic, images. And he was also on a platform called Kick, which is apparently where a bunch of perverts live. And they all communicate amongst themselves, and there's really no reason for him to be on there. And then there's a photo going around. I don't know how accurate it is or whether it's real or not, but it looks like him, although the tattoos don't really match up from what I can tell, but he changed a bunch of his tattoos, so who knows. But it was him in a towel.
Auto Penn.
Nipples out.
He did go to Penn, didn't he?
So that was spreading around all over the weekend. And then wife released a video. She's walking around the forest, and she's like, hey, I love my husband. Didn't really address anything there. I love my husband. We went to counseling, all the things. And then now they've come out with a new video. And here is what they have ultimately said in this little video. They get a question from the press. Press is really coming down on them. And this guy's got a bunch of, weird things about him because apparently he had like a Nazi symbol tattoo, like literally. I didn't know what it was. Then they covered it up. He turned it into like a flying animal or something. And it's just a bizarre thing from the Democrats to see this dissonance where they call everybody else literally.
Yeah, I do that from time to time. Only at the beginning of the month. It's not really views. I just need unique chatters.
Has like literal
20 unique chatters a month.
So apparently they're okay if it's their Nazis, but not anyone else's Nazis. Weird times. Here's what he got asked over the weekend. Very quiet question.
That's Hank.
It's no surprise to me that the establishment media outlets are just going to run gossip instead of wanting to talk about the things that actually matter in this race, which are the material realities that make leaders are working with. These people are going to try to make this race about anything but what it's supposed to be about, which is policy. They never want to talk about policy.
What's your policy about sexting women?
Very loving and very happy marriage. They would very much like to try to rip that apart. They're going to come after us.
Look at her looking at him.
And we're just going to keep talking about the fact that the hospitals are closing, the fact that child care facilities are closing, the fact that teachers and nurses aren't paid enough, and the fact that everybody down here continues to work harder and harder and get less. But of course, the powers that be do not want to talk about that. And so
we do actually.
No, this is the amazing part. The Wall Street Journal and the New York Times ran stories without any evidence besides the gossip from a former staffer.
They read that.
Sorry, that's frankly journalistic malpractice. We pushed back on it. They wanted, they did it anyways. So
did not exist.
What's that?
The messages, they did not.
I can prove that what Genevieve McDonald said in the New York Times is not true.
So you never met with her about
We talked about things in Amy's marriage that we've gone through over the years. We talked about that because that's our marriage, and we discussed it with the campaign. What Genevieve McDonald claims isn't true. So,
all right, well,
sounds like he's playing with words there.
Said Graham Plattner's wife flagged his explicit texts. And he says apparently all that is not true. Says days after he announced his bid for Maine, his wife told the campaign about a problem. Sexually explicit texts with several women. They just got married in 2023. That's it. Told the campaign about messages she found early in the marriage, spring 2025. And so as soon as they get married, I'm not saying that it's justified at any point, whether you're married 2 years or 25 years or 200 years. But aren't you still in the honeymoon phase? In late August, as some aides were conducting Oppo research, the wife and Gertner, Amy, so I guess she didn't take his last name, Gertner, disclosed the text to a campaign aide to make sure they didn't pose a risk to her husband's nation campaign. Campaign has been preparing for a major rally with Bernie. Aides ultimately decided.
Well, I like the little special sauce they have with onion rings, though. In fact, that's what I usually get with them.
By the campaign, Gertner said she thought that she was confiding in an aide that she considered a friend. She said, we did the hard work that marriage requires. We went to counseling. We were honest with each other in ways that weren't easy. And we came through it, not in spite of how much we built, but because of how much we love each other, and our marriage is stronger than ever. And I know who I've married. And then she made a video that basically said that. Now, they said they read the texts. Plattner also has an active account on Kick, a popular private messaging app. His profile shows a mirror selfie of him shirtless with a towel wrapped around his waist. Many of his tattoos are clearly visible in the picture. The Wall Street Journal verified the account on the app, a messaging platform that's been widely used. His account is listed as phustle0331, similar to his other accounts that were on Reddit, where he's talking about how soldiers are stupid and how he, basically should be dead. Plattner's campaign said the candidate had long deleted the app from his phone, but didn't deactivate it. Oops. He quickly captivated Maine voters with his progressive pitch, which feels like, just a total charade. You just kind of get out.
I agree.
Be a progressive communist.
Fast food should be in moderation.
His post on Reddit downplaying sexual assault.
I was cooking on my Blackstone last night.
Mills, the Maine governor, suspended her campaign because he beat the crap out of her. In a Reddit post in December 2019, he said a politician
on the way to your pickup.
Cool. In a popular watering hole.
How far you got to go?
He said they get wasted.
Don't have to give specifics about where you're at.
Wife. Disgusting. I've got a pretty flexible moral compass when it comes to those things, he added, and the campaign declined to comment about that post. All right, so is that going to have any effect at all? They don't care, okay? Their party doesn't care. You can have a candidate who says, I'd like to shoot your political opponent and put 2 in the head. And they'll still elect the dude. They just don't care. Let's take a look to see if that had changed the Kalshi odds at all for him.
Ooh, rental cooking.
I believe is this week. Has not at all. Dude is still at like 96%.
Last night I made
ship. But some people are saying
bison blend butter burgers, potatoes, and corn, all on the Blackstone. About 3.5 hours away.
Cool. So, yeah, that's coming down a bit. Democratic Party. So now Susan Collins as the Republican.
I'd like to see it.
60-40. Yeah, I'm nervous about this one. And Susan Collins, like I mentioned, she's kind of a squishy Republican, so she straddles the line out there, which I think is more attractive to the Maine voters. But she's also been around forever, and if this is just like a change election, then they might just want the new guy. And Plattner's doing the old John Fetterman shtick, where he kind of just walks around.
I got it.
Looks and sounds like.
All right, Dennis, that looks good.
Right here. Yeah, just wear a hat.
Okay, if I show it to everybody?
But I've seen him in hoodies. He's kind of doing the hoodies thing, too. Are the stories true?
There we go.
I'm confirming that
Yummy
the whistleblower was not true. New York Times said, yeah, Miss McDonald said Miss Gertner told her that the husband had been exchanging sexual messages with a dozen women. A current campaign official said Mr. Plattner had been communicating with up to 6 women. The conduct had stopped, though, before the campaign launched. Like, I can't do that if I'm running.
That's right. Every time I open Telegraph, there's an update.
Ms. McDonald asked Gertner, the wife, if there was anything she wanted to share with the vetting process. NBC Julie's also reported that the campaign is now saying what they're saying about this. They're trying to sell it. That
every time I open it, there's an update.
Despite what he said. Just watch that. Campaign official says Plattner isn't saying the text of the women at the start are not real. They are. Said, Amy and I went through something hard because of me. People don't care about gossip. They care about the issues. Yeah, well, your moral fiber is relevant to the issues. Right? Like if you're a liar and a cheater, then people might think you're going to lie and cheat with them as a voter and as a representative of the voters. He's frustrated by the sensationalization of several private facts relayed by former confidant to journalists. And again, I don't think it's going to have any impact necessarily on the primary. He's going to win that, no doubt.
Whopper Jr.
But will this matter in the general? I don't know. It should, but it may not. It depends. We'll see, of course. Susan Collins versus Graham Plattner coming soon. All right, so all that is happening. Let's also take a look.
Although I may stop and grab a ribeye at the place downtown here.
Which is now queued up. My apologies for the delay on that. But here's what's happening with Jill. Backlash. saying this book is rewriting history, calling her tone deaf, according to Axios. The backlash comes as excerpts from the book. It's called View from the West Wing, a memoir. Oh, wow. Appeared online, and the former First Lady sat for the interview where she said, never, never. Most Democratic Party leaders don't want to talk about Joe Biden's presidency, but the Bidens are making that difficult. Both are writing books.
It's BK birthday today.
Plans to make campaign stops ahead of
Expires today. Ooh, today's the last
Many
day.
Democrats said, please don't. Just no. Please no. Says Jill Biden's book opens up a wound for many Democrats who believe the Bidens damaged their credibility with voters by insisting that Joe Biden was fit. He wasn't.
Oh, they do have buy one, get one
The
free
party
chickens.
defended him, and then he made them all like idiots. Many Democrats feel the Bidens have yet to explain themselves. Oh, well, he's cancer now, so he can't ask anything about that. And that Jill's new book is part of a larger pattern of looking for excuses and people to blame. Several Biden aides, including some of the most loyal ones, are fuming about this, writes Axios. One former official said, I just wish they would give some more time and space and let people move on. It all feels so disingenuous, because it is. Another said the through line between her book and Kamala Harris is that they blame everyone but themselves for the loss. Yeah. Former senior official also said, Biden actually has a legacy that is impactful. What is it? And should be celebrated at some point. Getting us through the pandemic and passing life-changing bills, what was his legacy? What do you look back on fondly from the Biden years? The dude was absent, and it was just like a big era of woke nonsense. There was really nothing substantive that came out of it. A lot of people's lives were destroyed. A lot of people are still dying as a result of what they imposed and mandated across the board. It's just selfish. The Bidens preached selflessness and service above all. Gag me. Former Biden aides are particularly incensed and dubious on her version of the events. Jill Biden now says that she was frightened watching her husband on the debate stage, saying, I thought he was having a stroke. I felt like we were watching a hologram.
And then, but afterwards, you were like, oh, he did so well.
Quote, has he been drugged? Is what the excerpt is, apparently. And there were some rumors about that he was up all night and then he couldn't sleep and somebody gave him some Ambien and his brain was fried. And I mean, I've had that experience where your brain just doesn't work, right? Like doing shows and stuff or doing interviews. I've had like a couple shows. I'm like, man, that was rough. But there's usually an explanation for that, right? I'm usually exhausted. I was up late night. I didn't sleep or whatever. I'm sick. I'm not feeling well. But there's an explanation for it. After the debate, however, she didn't appear so worried and joined Biden at a campaign rally where she says, you did great, Joe. You answered all the questions. Now we're going to have ice cream. Her latest comments are also at odds with what Joe Biden's top aide said at the time, that the debate went badly, but the media and the Democratic Party overreacted. I don't know about that. They did react. They ended him. He was done. They had to install Kamala in the aftermath of that, who got no votes at all. And then they turned around and said, this is about the future of our democracy. How many votes did Kamala get to be the nominee? 0. So other Biden aides fumed that she was simultaneously insisting her husband had not declined, while also suggesting that she may have missed it. Quote, had he grown too old for the job and I hadn't noticed?
Burger King, Defiance, Ohio.
But could I be objective enough to be sure? Question. She writes in the new book. Wow. All right, so don't get your copies anywhere books are sold because it's going to just be a revision of the truth. We all saw it every day. And even, what's her name? Karine. Jean-Pierre. She had to come out every day. Oh, he's amazing. No, he's fit. He's doing a great job back there. He's definitely not taking a nap. He needs to be up soon. So it was like 24/7 of nonsense out of that administration, and COVID was a disaster. So they look like getting us through COVID. What are you talking about?
I need to see how bad the
They
drive-thru
were the
is.
ones saying they would never take the jab in November. October, November, we're not taking Trump's shot because it'll kill us. And then after that, as soon as they won the election, they're all just, getting jabbed all over the place. The whole thing was ridiculous. All right, so that's a little bit of the roundup. Let's talk about this criminal case that is now happening today, which I think will be worth keeping our eye on for sure. And let's just get the latest on this. Trial starts in the killing of Austin Metcalf by Carmelo Anthony. It is a murder charge, and the judge has now banned cameras in the courtroom. No audio at all. Very limited public accessibility. Only a handful of news entities are going to be allowed in. And of course, the question is why. When it was Derek Chauvin, we saw that they spread that around like wildfire. That 8-minute, 42-second video was constantly shared over and over on the media. In this image, in this case, we got no videos released at all involving a stabbing that occurred at a high school football game. And so now it's set to begin. This is Austin Metcalf. May he rest in peace. He was stabbed by a guy called Carmelo Anthony. And the photo of that individual is right here. Carmelo Anthony has now raised $600,000 in his defense, and they're basically treating him like a celebrity. But we saw Kyle Rittenhouse also had his trial televised all over the place. But when it's a little bit too tense, then they want to lock the whole thing down. May have to do with the parties who were involved in this one. But one news entity called the Dallas Morning News will be there, and jury selection is today. We're going to, of course, keep our eye on it. Very unlikely to get a lot of documents out of it. Very unlikely to get any actual video footage at all. And
Hey, exposed at 33.
His defense, of course, will be self-defense, that he was attacked. And so just for posterity's sake, we have the
What you posting there, buddy?
Queued up as well.
I normally don't care, so
recollection in
just asking.
Very soon, which is the arrest report that prompted his arrest for murder. But today the trial begins, and Dallas Morning News is there. They say this involves Carmelo Anthony, 19 years old, accused of killing 17-year-old Austin Metcalf last year at a track meet, not a football game. My apologies. The case sparked a frenzy on social media, widespread interest across the entire nation. And now it is turning into racism, saying Austin was white, Anthony is black. And this is presumably why the judge does not want to allow this trial to be televised for all of us to see. Once again, Chauvin gets his smeared all over the entire country. Dude was convicted before he even stepped foot into the courtroom. They wanted the same thing for Kyle Rittenhouse.
Yep.
Okay, give me 1 minute to look that up.
Memorial. Metcalf, a memorial student, told him to move, and Anthony, who's now been charged with murder, replied, "Touch me and see what happens." Metcalf touched him, and Anthony replied, apparently, "Punch me and see what happens," said the affidavit, which we'll take a look at. Then they say Metcalf grabbed Anthony, who pulled a knife from his backpack, stabbed him once in the chest. Then Metcalf died in the arms of his twin brother, Hunter, and Hunter just graduated and apparently got
no
a
lettuce,
diploma for his
tomato,
dead
or
brother.
pickle,
Anthony
and
was
then
arrested minutes later, told the police
small
in
onion
self-defense.
ring
So the
and
trial is
zesty
now
sauce.
being stewarded by a guy
Okay,
called
we will
Judge
have that ready for you at that second
Roach
window.
Jr. Very strict rules for public and the media. Seating in the courtroom will be limited. Only 9 media representatives allowed, including the Dallas Morning News, will be allowed inside. Those reporters will be allowed in first each day, followed by designated family members and then the public. No audio or video recordings will be allowed.
Thank you.
Family members, attorneys, and representatives for both teams are also under a gag order, like the most lockdown trial ever. A court order said, this case has generated substantial public and media attention. Whoa, really? You mean just like the Tyler Robinson case or the Luigi Mangione case? We have a lot of information about what's going on in those proceedings. And that unrestricted access or activity may compromise courtroom security, juror privacy, and the defendant's right to a fair trial. They didn't really care too much about the defendant's right to a fair trial in the case of Kyle Rittenhouse or Derek Chauvin, they were convicted by the media before the trial even started, before the jury was even selected. But of course, this is a little bit of a reverse situation. Now, heightened scrutiny and security is expected inside the courthouse. Totally expected the last 2 weeks. We've got racism and misinformation spreading all over the place. The hashtag White Lives Matter is trended on social media. You can see Black Lives Matter. So if Black Lives Matter, then Derek Chauvin should be convicted before it starts. But if it's White Lives Matter, then it's lock it down. Turn the cameras off. Far-right influencers use the case to advance a narrative of a growing threat against white people. Well, one white person is dead, stabbed in the chest. Yuri Neves, who tracks online extremism. Okay. On the other hand, some alleged online that Metcalf and his twin were using racial slurs, and so it's going to be a lot about this. Crystal Police Chief said this was a tragic and chaotic event. Austin Metcalf was a 4.0 GPA, member of the National Honor Society, MVP of the football team at Memorial High, hoped to play college football, already had received some offers, according to his father, Jeff. And he was older than his twin by only a few minutes. Twin brothers. The boys loved spending time outdoors and hunting. We were one person, and now one of them is dead. We did everything together, everything the same. Carmelo was from Baton Rouge, Louisiana. His father said he was a captain of the football and the track teams, 2 part-time jobs, a student with college plans, and is a great big brother. So our lives were upended, and we had a high school graduation. Of course, Hunter accepted his brother's diploma, came back, got his brother's diploma after he received his own. And so this thing is going to be conducted outside of public scrutiny because of misinformation, evidently. So he's raised $600,000 in his defense. His family also moved him into a mansion. Carmelo Anthony, the Texas student athlete who was charged with stabbing a football star, raised 600 G's. Trial's now starting, outpouring of grief. But what came next was pretty incredible. Family spokesperson said the money would go to stand with us in the fight against white supremacy. Wild. So mourning a victim is now white supremacy. The case kicked off a major racial fracas online with donations pouring in to defend Anthony, who is black. Donations to Anthony's legal defense fund continue to pour in. 70 contributions came in. Anthony, 19, also a high school football player, was later released on a $250,000 bail. And I think Rittenhouse's was like millions, wasn't it? Then his family moved into a $900,000 mansion in a gated community. Wow, it pays. Jury selection slated to get underway, and we'll have to see what the makeup of the jury looks like. There's Carmelo Anthony. His lawyer said he acted in self-defense, and of course, it's going to be a case of self-defense if he is convicted. 5 and 99 years for murder. And his father was put on a gag order in the case. Okay, the accused murderer was released from jail and is now on house arrest. Father spoke out, Jeff Metcalf, the father of the twin boy, and then he gets gagged. So nobody can talk about anything, and it's brutal. The brother died in his brother's arms. Let out, died right in his hands. So here was the charging arrest report and affidavit.
Before I
And
go
what we
in,
can see here as this trial kicks off, 7 pages. We'll hit the highlights, but they've now got him arrested. 5'9", 130 pounds, race black, age 17 at the time this was taken, saying on April 2nd, 2025, I, Officer Cortez, heard over the radio dispatch call a stabbing at a stadium. The notes indicate an athlete was stabbed. The suspect reported as being a black male wearing a gray hoodie and blue sweatpants. I immediately left my office, ran across the parking lot towards the west entrance. As I entered the stadium, 2 high school-age students informed me that the victim was on the north end of the stadium by the bleachers under a Memorial High School tent. Next, I proceeded towards the north end of the stadium on foot. As I got closer to the north end, I could see the Memorial High School tent with multiple individuals under the tent. Once I arrived onto the north side, an adult male who was on the track pointed out the suspect, was not able to identify that witness. The individual that was pointed out to me was a black male wearing a gray hooded sweater and dark colored Nike pants. The suspect at this point was on the track on the north end. There was a chain link fence that separated me from the suspect. I gave the suspect instructions to keep your hands up in the air. During this time, the suspect said verbally out loud, "I was protecting myself." It should be noted that I had not questioned him about the incident when he made that comment. Spontaneous utterance. I asked him if he had any weapons. He said no. I patted him down for weapons while we were walking along the fence. I did not locate any on his person. I instructed the male to continue walking along the fence, which he complied, towards an area where there was an opening in the fence that led off the track. While walking him off the track, the suspect also said, "He put his hands on me." I then detained the suspect in handcuffs, handcuffed him behind his back, and had him sit on the ground. Officer Ricci had arrived at the scene. I conducted another pat-down of his person, then searched his person after he gave me consent, no weapons. While the suspect sat on the ground, I advised that I had the alleged suspect. The suspect then responds and says, "I'm not alleged. I did it." I got the alleged suspect right here, over. He says, "I'm not alleged. I did it." Next, Officer Ricci and I walked the suspect towards the patrol vehicle, which was on the north end. As we walked towards the squad car, the suspect was emotional. He said he put his hands on me. I told him not to. I did not question the suspect about the incident while he was escorted to the vehicle. I searched his person once again and had him sit in the backseat area. While the suspect was in the backseat, I noticed fresh blood on his middle finger. I verbally acknowledged I saw the blood out loud so that it would be captured on camera. Body cam. It should be noted the suspect asked me, is he going to be okay while in the back seat? I then identified him, provided his name, date of birth verbally as Carmelo Anthony, black male with the date of birth of redacted, which I ran through dispatch. Officer Hancock arrived on scene, remained with me while the suspect was with me at this point. Carmelo was then checked in via eSchool, a database, to confirm his identity. The info he provided matched an individual that I had in custody. Next, I was advised by Sergeant Holland to transport him back to the jail. Officer Hancock and I did that. Again, I did not question him on the route. When we got to the jail, he was escorted over to intake. Jail staff changed him out into jail attire. I remained with the jail staff the entire time. The clothes that he was wearing were placed into evidence. The clothes remained in my possession from this point on. Once he was placed into the jail cell, I kept possession of his clothes. I then returned to patrol number.
All right. It's kind of like
patrol number 2412 along with Officer
just a regular
Hancock,
cheeseburger
which was
at McDonald's.
the Sally Port, and placed Carmelo's clothes in the back of the trunk area. His clothes remain in the trunk.
All right, I'm gonna go and kill it.
Crime scene technician took the clothes.
Probably fire it back up on the way home.
To the case. No further information here.
Thanks for hanging out, Eggsy. Anyone else who's still hanging? Peace.
So these people
talk to you guys later.
Be testifying at trial. She says April 2nd.